Hey y'all, welcome to Raising a Woman podcast. I am your host, Miss Antesha. I hope all is well with you, but I'm going to tell you what's not well this weather. Child, look, I'm bundled. I I got the hoodie and the hat on inside cuz it is cold. I don't know what's happening. I look out this window, it looks like winter is just getting started as opposed to being at the end of the season. I am sick of it. I don't know about y'all. I'm here in the Midwest in Minnesota. If you know, you know. I think anybody in the Midwest, y'all understand. This weather is fickle. I almost got sick last week. I was in that little in between stage because the weather was going back and forwards between hot and cold, right? So this is how it goes. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just my luck. The weather got real nice. So I have, my big winter coat. I'm that girl. I'm not one of those people who I don't care even if hopping in and out of a car. In wintertime, I have to have my winter coat. Not no little jacket, not just a hoodie, because I see a lot of people who do that. They're like, well, we're just going in and out of the car. Okay, I understand that. That's cool for you. For me, I need the big winter coat. So I wear the big winter coat. It ends up being a nice day, right? The weather is changing. It's getting nice. So I'm like, okay, I look kind of stupid. It's sunny outside. I I got this big jacket or this big coat on, winter coat. So I said, okay, the weather is warming up. Tomorrow I'm gonna wear my regular jacket. So not like it's still a coat, but it's not like the winter coat, right? It's one of those I like to wear it during the fall season and during the start of the spring season. We're still, a little chilly, a little nippy outside, right? So I wear that the next day. I step out of work, it's freezing. The wind is whipping. I'm talking about I have I have my hat on my head. I could feel the breeze going through my hat. It is whipping. So I'm like, okay, back to the winter coat, I guess. Bring the winter coat back out for the next day because I'm like, I'm not gonna be caught in this cold and this wind chill again. It's nice. Oh my gosh, this yo-yo back and forwards is what's gonna keep your girl sick. It's what got me popping the pain relievers to try and reduce the fevers and sipping tea and everything else because Mother Nature don't want to make up her mind. Okay, she don't want to make up her mind. She's gonna do what she want to do. So here we are, middle of March, with a I guess kind of like blizzard type of warning behavior that's going on because I guess this is going on all the way until tomorrow morning. So that's gonna make work interesting for me. But hey, what can you do? Life is life and the weather is the weather. So you just have to keep on going, keep doing what you're doing. But let me tell you something that I have been doing that I'm going to keep doing. And I suggest that you do as well. Go through all of these apps and subscriptions that you have, add them up. Add them up. I have been going through the different apps that I have, both the streaming apps and the non-streaming ones, right? So the I have apps that I was using for the business as well. I think I got rid of like most of those, not just the apps, but subscriptions. I've canceled out a lot of things. And I definitely have the tax season to thank for that because I done went through and did the taxes. Last year I started raising a woman. So this tax season is my first, year with the taxes, right? So you got to go through everything, you know, all the deductions, you got to add everything up, get them receipts and all that stuff together, girl. Hope you was on it and kind of was not, but luckily I didn't have too much going on. It still stressed me out and it still took me like a few days or so to figure this all out because this was my first time doing the taxes with my business, right? So it was a little challenging, but I was like, man, I started adding up the things that I did last year. And I was definitely caught up in that new business owner, wasteful spending type of thing, right? It happens. You hear the stories all the time. Thankfully, um, it wasn't a long run for me. It wasn't it wasn't a long run. Thankfully I didn't have like the whole year of the foolishness. And it was just like some months. And so going through this tax season, I was able to see all of the things that I was unnecessarily spending last year towards the business. And not intentionally, not just because I was being irresponsible. My heart was in the right place with it, but you just have to understand the biggest thing for me is operating from where I'm at right now instead of trying to operate from where I want to be, where I want to go, right? We're all trying to get to the next level, whatever that next level may be, and then go beyond that. But until then, you are where you are. And so I really didn't take to heart that all I really need is, I don't need all of these things. Like I have a cell phone. I want to use the cell phone to record. And the microphones, they don't have to be that expensive. But even if I was just doing it from the microphone from my cell phone, the podcast didn't require a lot of things. I had a vision that was too big. And let me stop. The vision is not too big. It's not too big. The vision is wonderful. The vision is great. The reality is I'm not where my vision is at this point. Like I'm in the beginning stages. You understand? Does that make sense? So the vision, don't get rid of the vision. Don't get rid of that. That's wonderful that you have these big ideas and you have all of this stuff in your mind that, oh, I want to do this. I want to have this equipment. I want my sound to be like this. I want to get a set. I want to do the merchandise. All of those things. Those are great things to have in mind. That's a great vision. That shows your outlook that you're serious about your business and what you're doing. Um, it shows that you're in this for the long run, that you want real growth, and that you're not just trying to come in real quick and just do something. However, when you're starting off, that's not where you are at. That's not where you're at. I definitely messed up with merchandise. I don't have any merchandise right now anymore. I took all of that down. No sales were happening from that because there's no demand. And so for me, my mindset back then was let me hurry it. Let me set this stuff up so it's already done, so that I don't have to then play catch up. Like if people, want the stuff, but that was just the wrong way to go about it. But because of that, I incurred even more expenses because then I have the subscriptions, different subscriptions that I'm using for the business to design the merchandise, to um, the platform, the e-commerce site that I'm using, or was using for that cost. And then the place that's producing, the product. I was doing print on demand. So that was a subscription. So all those subscriptions, I had other subscriptions for like business account. At one point, I had this one design app that was real cool, like this pattern design app type of thing. But I luckily I only went like a month or two with that. And I was like, girl, you don't need it. Like you can make your own, you have an app, another app, and you can just repeat patterns. Like you can't go into all these elaborate details like with this one is, but do you really need all that? And you're not even selling nothing right now. So why are you trying to be innovative and come up with all these different designs and stuff? So that was a lot of my financial issue in the beginning, like when I first started last year. And I was just racking up them subscriptions. all this subscription for this, subscription for that. And so during this tax season, I was like, we're going to get a hold of this, getting a handle on this right now, because what happened last year definitely cannot happen this year. I'm wiser now. I understand it. I've gone through the process, and financially cannot afford it. Can't do that back to back years. And so I have downgraded so much stuff. I'm still working on some things. I'm still, even this, what I'm using to record the podcast right now, it's a subscription that I use from somewhere. And it's a nice place. I ain't gonna say who they are, whatever, I ain't got no, ain't no sponsorship or nothing with them, but I may at some point uh do a video of whatever I'm currently using, or even the things that I did use, the subscriptions, the different apps that I had before, um, that were nice, but just not need, I didn't need them right away. So I may, announce some of those things because I did come across some good stuff. It's just that I'm not at a point of where I really realistically need them. Right. And so I'm thinking too, like, I wonder if I should try recording this, because I haven't done the podcast on my cell phone, right? Like I said, you got a cell phone, just record the video. Set up the phone like, I'm doing right now, and take it from there. So I may play around with that. I don't know if next episode, or after next episode, or maybe I'll wait until after this season. But I've gotten rid of a lot of that stuff, y'all. I'm so happy. I'm so happy I've gone through it. Still one or two couple more things that I'm doing. I'm going to be converting the website as well. So if there ends up being some glitch, if those of you who may visit the website, I mean, it's not much on there, but if y'all do stop at the website and it happens to be down or something, that might be why. Because I'm transferring domains to, a cheaper one, because I don't need to be on the e-commerce one anymore, because I'm not doing merchandise. That's going to save me a lot of money. Because like I said, that was a subscription and everything like that. So I'm working on some things. We're working on it. We're working on it, right? So the business stuff, that was real kind of like clear cut. Like it wasn't too emotional, too personal, right? But the streaming apps though, now that's the real task right there. That's the real challenge. I already though, I give myself some credit. Give yourself some credit, Antisha. Don't play yourself like that with the people, okay? Give yourself some credit. I I have already gotten rid of some of them. So I don't have all the streaming apps that I did have at one point. I had even started getting to a point, and I've been did this. I can't be the only one who does this. I know y'all do this too. Don't leave your girl out here hanging. I know you do it. I know you do it. So I was doing the thing where it's literally some of the streaming services, there's really only like a show, maybe literally one show that they have that I really want to watch. And so I would, you know, get the subscription when the season started up, and as soon as the finale hit, I'd cancel. And I just keep doing that every season. I think I for sure did that with Insecure, because that was the only reason why I had, what was it? Was that on HBO? I can't remember. That's the only reason why I had it, was for Insecure. I'm like, I'm not keeping it for nothing else but this. So whenever the season would come, I would get it. And then soon as it end, I'd cancel it. I was doing the same too for a little bit with Stars, because that was, I was doing the whole into power and all of that stuff. But I've been let that go. Probably, oh my gosh, has it been like 3 years or so? I don't know. I let it go a little bit because I was doing the back and forwards. When it comes on, then do it. I think once it started expanding more, like when it became the Power universe, I was still watching some of, the shows, like the first seasons of some of the other shows, like Force. Um, I did see, I think, the first season of BMF. What was the other one? I can't remember. I can't think of it. But I was watching those. And then eventually I was just like, no, I'm, canceling out stars. I think it was in between one of the off seasons. And I just didn't start it back up. I think I already was starting to see like this stuff is really, really costing. So I did the same. I had Peacock. That was only for Bel Air. If you know, you know. That was the remake of the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, right? And it took it from a comedy to a drama. That show was amazing. I absolutely loved it. Oh my gosh. I love the cast. Did y'all? Did y'all love it? Let me know. Let me know. I loved it. I loved it. I loved the whole concept from the beginning of it being more of a drama. I said, now this is doing a remake, right? Because so many remakes, people are like, leave the good stuff in the past. When you remake it, you mess it up. And there is some truth, I think, to that. And I think the problem is, how can you recreate what's happened? Like, how can you go back and just redo this again? That represents a time point, a time frame, where society was at that point, where the culture was at. So it really is difficult to try and recreate those things, right? And so sometimes, a lot of times, those remakes don't work. But where Bel Air worked was that it came from a different perspective. Yes, it still touched on a lot of the same like storylines as the Fresh Prince, but because it wasn't coming from a comedy aspect, it was coming from more of a dramatic aspect. And because it switched, you know, it switched some things up. It didn't exactly keep everything the same. And so it still made it fresh because they would take some things and put a little twist to it, you know. It's something as simple as, even though this was like the last episode of with baby Nikki, on the Fresh Prince, the baby, he was a boy, and then they flipped it on us, right? At the end, and then, baby Nikki ended up being a girl. It's with Hillary's, fiance, at the time. Then they got married, and how, the way in which he passed away is different than the Hillary's, uh, boyfriend or fiance on the Fresh Prince. And actually, I think on Bel Air, his name wasn't Hillary's. He wasn't Trevor. I don't think. Wasn't his name something else? I can't remember. But it's just something just like that. Like, the storyline was the same, and you kind of knew what to expect. Like, I felt like he was still going to pass away. I just wasn't sure in what manner they was gonna go about it on Bel Air. But that's how you do a nice remake. You still have to make it your own. You still have to you definitely have to keep it fresh and current. When you're trying to recapture that lightning in a bottle, so to speak, I don't think you're really gonna be successful at it. I think what you need to do is just use the original as the blueprint. You can follow some of the basic kind of guidelines of it a little bit, but you need to create your own lightning in the bottle instead of trying to redo the recipe exactly the same. And so that's why that show was successful. But anywho, as successful as it was, my my subscription membership was not gonna be, okay? Because I already knew. Okay, when they said final season, I said it's my final Peacock run. I There was other things though. Peacock is a good streaming app. They do have some other shows on there and some movies. It's not that I'm not hating. I'm not hating on the apps. It's not that it didn't have some good stuff. It's just that the only reason why I particularly was watching it and was clicking on it was for Bel Air. So why do I am I gonna keep it afterwards, right? What app do you really use, and what ones is it just there out of comfort? A big one for me, this is huge, y'all. This is a big one for me. I'm not gonna lie to you. Netflix. Netflix is more than just an app. It's really like I feel like it's become a part of culture. It's Netflix and chill. Like, like it's a whole thing. It's embedded in my life. It's given me kind of like what Amazon Prime was giving me. And let me hold up. Let me hold up. It has been a year since your girl finally canceled Amazon Prime. What? Stop playing. I struggled getting to that point. I struggled getting to that point. I had been wanting to cancel for years. And not because Amazon is bad, like who don't want them next day deliveries, 2 day shipping, same day. I got caught up in that too. And I realized like I'm caught up in it. I'm caught up in it. But Amazon, it was deeper because Amazon wasn't even about the price of the subscription. Because it wasn't like I was paying some high amount for that, right? And you got a lot. You got the shipping stuff, you got the Amazon Prime, the Prime Video, right? So now we're watching TV shows and we watching movies. Like they stepped it up. Like you was getting a lot of bang for your buck. The problem was all the things that I was ordering, right? On the website. I ain't talking about like movies, streaming movies. I'm talking about on the website, all the things that I was ordering. Okay. That was the real problem. The real problem. And I recognize that, well, if I don't have Amazon Prime, I'm not, if you don't have that 2 day shipping anymore and now you're just doing regular shipping, you're not going to be ordering all this stuff. Things that you feel you need by tomorrow, need by this weekend, all these needs and wants that aren't really needs and wants. Yeah, you're not going to need them after you cancel that subscription. It's not going to be important anymore when you have to wait a whole week. Now you're going to get down to what you really need and what you really don't. And it really became about convenience because there are times, and I'm sure y'all can relate to it, there are plenty of things that you literally can just go to the store and go get instead of ordering it online. This is really with anything, not just necessarily, with Amazon Prime, but I found myself in those situations. I could have, you know, at the time I could have hopped in the car at the time and I could have went to this store and got that. I could have went to the bookstore and got the book. Or I could have went to Target at the time when I was still shopping Target because yes, that's another thing that has hit a year milestone this year. Me boycotting Target reached the 1 year anniversary this January. So I haven't been in a Target store since January 2025. Mind you, that was still during the time when I was an employee at Target at their distribution center. And so it didn't matter. I still I boycotted while I was still working there, and was working there for the next, almost like 6 months before leaving the company. But I could have, back then at times I could have went to Target and got these items, got a book or whatever like that. It wasn't really a need for me to do Amazon. outside of the convenience, right? You always feel like you got a lot to do. I really didn't have a lot to do and still was ordering. So the Amazon Prime was one of the biggest subscriptions, apps, however you want to put it, both, combination of both, the most costly for me. Answer this question for me. Have you ever added up all of those Amazon orders? If you were to add up every item that you ordered, every from last year, what do you think the amount would be? I challenge you. I challenge you, if you haven't done it, to do it. If you one of those people, like weekly, every other week, multiple times during the week, sometimes that was even my thing. Packages was always coming. I challenge you. I challenge you, my friend. I challenge you to go through them orders, add up them orders, and see how much money you really spend on Amazon in just 2025. I don't need you, because if we go beyond there, we're gonna have to commit ourselves into some type of facility. We start with myself. If I went beyond the 1 year that I had did it, I was gonna have to, I was gonna have to go talk to some people. Seriously. Because that amount was ridiculous for me, off of the 1 year. And that was about, and that's why I was like, I gotta start. I gotta wrap this up. I gotta start, I have to get this uh out of my system. I have to get it out of my system. I have to stop being so pressed on getting things right away. I don't like that about us. Ev- we so used to right now, right now, right now, right? And so it just makes things that really aren't a long time seem like it's a long time, because we're used to the Amazon, the quickness of it. And it's become a part of our life. And I just like, man, I feel that just does harm in so many different ways. It helps make us be more impatient and maybe even less kind with things, right? You think of, because it was times when, and it didn't happen a lot. It didn't happen a lot. But there would be times when the Amazon deliveries did not come when they were supposed to. And I used to be mad. I remember the first time, I'm like, how it didn't show up? Now, mind you, in all the years that I had Amazon, this probably only happened, I think, a max of maybe three times. Maybe three times. And the first time was in like recent years. Um, so I had a long run of where it just didn't happen like that. But yet I was like upset, like how dare they don't make my my deliveries. Well, I had worked at an Amazon sortation center for like a year. This was before Target. And we were the place that sorted the packages to the destination. So everybody's packages comes into the warehouse. It goes through the conveyor up to the sort slides, and you got to separate them and they go down. It was so hectic. That job was hard, and not hard in regards to hard to learn, but hard in, like, if y'all seen it, if y'all was there, like, that's when I started realizing that, girl, don't get upset if the packages every once in a while they don't come on time. Because after being one of the employees in the warehouse, who were the ones who were like the final stop before like the whole last mile thing to get to you, and we had to be the ones, and we have the time frame, and we have to meet the quota, and if not, then we're going into overtime for the shift, and then we're and the way they're on us about numbers, 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 numbers. I finally had a new appreciation, and it made me calm it down a little bit. So listen, those packages come to you fast, but it's because there are people behind the scenes who I assure you are probably working their tail off, hearing it from their supervisors and everything else to get us them package, well, to get y'all, not me anymore. Okay. But to get y'all them packages within 2 days. So look, just add it up. 1 year. We still at the beginning of 2026. Um, so you got 2025. How bold are you? How bold are you? Go through them orders and add it up. and see and see what you spent at Amazon last year. And then ask yourself, are you gonna do the same this year? Some of you might be like, yeah. That's hey, that's that's your business for sure. For sure, that's your business. But I had to nip it in the bud. I had to nip it in the bud because I'm like, I'm I'm leading myself to an even darker financial place. So let me stop that. The biggest culprit for me now is this Netflix. Is this Netflix. Netflix right now, I'm paying 20 something dollars for, you guys. I remember, I think when I first got Netflix, I was paying definitely under $10. Didn't it start off as like a 4.99 or something like that? 5.99, 6.99. And so Netflix has this thing of every year, you'll end up getting that notification. And I think it might be more than once a year. Maybe they do this like, it feels like they do it a couple of times a year of the price increase. So, of course, they let you know, they got to let you know. And I had gotten into a habit years ago where I'm just like, oh, okay, the price is going up, whatever, and then, hit that I accept or that I read, whatever the requirement is and go about my business. Because in my mind, I'm like, I'm not getting rid of Netflix. Netflix is Netflix. I'm not getting rid of it. Like this is my core central app. I'm not getting rid of it. But I really, in recent months with the last price increase, and once I really stopped and think about it, like, girl, you're paying 20 something for it a month, and it started off as like a under $8 thing. Like the price increase isn't going to stop. Like, what are we gonna do? And then maybe it's just me. Maybe my tastes have changed. Maybe I'm just really not into the shows anymore like I used to be. But I remember that Netflix for me had more things that I was interested in. Like I find myself now so many times I'll easily spend like 30 something minutes scrolling through Netflix trying to figure out what movie I want to watch, what TV new show do I want to start up or something. And it's not because, oh, there's just so much abundance of content, I don't know where to start. It's that nothing is speaking out to me. Like I remember a time period where it was like, for me, it was like every week Netflix was dropping something that I was interested in, that I wanted to see, that I wanted to watch. And now at some point it just kind of, I don't know, but I'll be honest about that. I think I've become less interested in like TV shows and all of that stuff. Um, life has been life and went to school. Once went back to school, um, that changed a lot too because so much of my free time now is spent doing homework and all of that. So I guess there have been life reasons as to why I may not be as engaging with Netflix as I once was. But then that goes, you know, to the question, do I need it? I don't need it, but do I still want it? Do I still want it? There are shows on there definitely that I love. I love my Bridgerton, and Bridgerton, that season just ended. Um, I like Wednesday, you know. I don't know when a new season of that starts, but that's one of my shows. Um, really a lot of shows that were my shows on Netflix are no longer they're not coming back. They're no longer shows, right? They've series finale'd or they didn't get picked back up, it seems like. So, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I might have to let Netflix go. Like, what is life? What is life? And you wanna know what I was thinking? Cause I seen recently where did y'all see where it said, BET Plus is being acquired by Paramount? And I think something about because Tyler Perry, you know, his shares were acquired of BET Plus. So that was able to happen. And so that made me think too, because I think didn't something recently Netflix acquired something like a month or so ago? I can't remember who. But I remember when I heard it, I was super excited because I was like, "Oh, we finna get more content, that content." And then I started looking at comments on social media and people were like, "Oh, the prices is finna go up now for sure." And I was like, "Wait a minute, I didn't think about that." I guess more content, more access to stuff would give a reason to increase, the prices even more. Or maybe at the very least, just create different like plans, like a higher up type of higher tier plan. Um, so then I became less excited about that. And so I'm like, have y'all ever stopped and about what all these streaming apps mean? Like how expensive this stuff is? Like, do you believe that there's going to be a time where a streaming app is going to cost you 40, 50 something dollars? I mean, if you're already at 20 something, right? You're already about halfway there now. So wh- when does it stop? I remember cable. Do y'all have cable? Anybody have cable? I haven't had cable since 2017. That was the last year I had cable. And I think that's probably the year where I probably got with Netflix. I don't know. I think Netflix was around at that point. And so that's when I started getting into streaming services was after that point, after 2017. But I remember the days because that's it feel like. Like, girl, we talking way back in time right now. I remember the days when cable I used to have cable and internet. You would combine the 2 of them a lot of times because you would get a cheaper deal overall as opposed to if you had your cable and then you had your internet somewhere else. It would cost you more money. But I remember how the only thing you had to do about cable was decide if you wanted was which movie type of package you wanted. If you wanted HBO, if you wanted Stars, if you wanted what was it? Cinemax, right? A lot of times I think for me growing up, we just had the basic cable, which was fine by me because that meant you was getting BET, MTV, VH1, um, what else? Had We TV, Lifetime, Bravo, things like that. Like all of that was fine. You got a lot of stuff. You got to see a lot of your shows because then you had your regular TV shows. You automatically, got the regular network television shows. And so it was a lot. So it was just about whether you wanted to get one of the movie channels for the movies. But if not, you could just rent the movie or go to the movies, when it came out, and that would save you, some money too. But now everything is so separate, right? It's like what I said with Peacock. I only had it because of Bel Air. I only had stars for certain shows. It's like all these different apps because they're like different companies, different pockets, different like areas. You can't get all your shows under the majority of one thing, or at least I can't, right? And so when you think about that, those 50, well now like $15 apps, $20 apps, even if it's 9, 8 something dollars. When you add all those up, when you add up like 4 or 5 plus different apps, you might be spending $100 a month. You might be spending more than that a month on all of these streaming apps. That's wild. That to me is worse than, the prices of cable. Cable prices were definitely going up, but this is just a lot. Like even network television now only having certain shows on their streaming apps. That's so frustrating. There are shows that I would definitely watch, but it doesn't come on the actual channel. It just comes on their streaming app. And it's like, I'm not starting up another subscription to something for one show or two shows or however many. I have enough subscriptions as is, or at least I did. Like I said, I got that down, a lot of it down. And so I think it's time we're getting into spring, and spring's always like that spring cleanup, whenever you go into the new seasons, start cleaning out the closet, start getting rid of, old stuff, uh deep cleaning for the new season, all of that things. I think you need to deep dive into your streaming apps, into any type of subscriptions you have across the board, and ask yourself two things. Why did you get it in the first place? And is it worth it? Like, are you actively on this app enough? Are you actively doing whatever this subscription is giving you enough for you to keep it? But also, number three, here's the real question. This is the real question. Can you afford it? Because if you add up this stuff and you're like, nah, that money, maybe that it could have been used for my gas. Maybe that could have been used a little more for some groceries or to pay down my credit cards, or to get caught up on my debt or, things like that. You got to make those decisions. I know I'm still in it. I'm not 100% out of it, but I've knocked off so much. So much. Um if I was to give myself a percentage of where I'm at right now, I would say I have to be at like 85% or above of having canceled, unnecessary um apps and subscriptions. I said I got a couple things more with Raising a Woman that I'm using for this, that I'm switching over, that I'm transitioning into a cheaper area, or trying to figure out, am I gonna use the cell phone? You know what I mean? I mean, it's here. It's got video recording on it. Let's play with it. Let's see. It's not gonna give me all the extra things that I need and I'm comfortable with. Um with the platform that I'm using to record now, but could I make it work? I mean, yeah. Yeah, I think I well, not think, I know that I could. I'll be honest, it'll take a little more time in regards to editing and things of that nature, but it would definitely be for free. And who don't love a good free 99? I love a good free 99. Right? So listen, be bold and add up those those Amazon orders you did in 2025 and see what the amount is. Or not even just that, just all your subscriptions that you have now, that you had, last year, that you have right now. Add all of those up, times them by the 12 months, and see how much you're spending yearly on your apps and subscriptions. And then ask yourself, number one, Can I afford it? Number 2, is it worth it? Number 3, like, am I actually using this stuff or do I just have it? So those are some questions that I want you to think about throughout this week. You know, let's get on these finances more. It really be the little things. It's the little things even, and I didn't even say, but I'm just gonna a little bit at the end throw in even the stuff like eating out. Not even eating out. Let me be more specific. On the job eating. Like if your job has them little kind of like deli sections, the vending machines, coffee machine, like all of that stuff. Cause that was another thing I did too. Because that was definitely a thing when I was at Target, you know, getting food and stuff, breakfast from there, our lunch from there. And I took the time and I added that up. When I added up my Amazon stuff, I also added that up too. And that's when I was like, yeah, we're not we are budgeting. Like if we are gonna get something at the job, it's gonna be no more than this for it. This is the weekly budget or the monthly budget for it. That's it. Because them prices, that amount, that total, that was a nice amount too for 1 year. Girl, you could have went to the grocery store. You could have went to the grocery store. You could have had multiple things. Do you understand me when I say that? You could have had leftovers. Do you know what that is? You could have had leftovers. Instead, you're spending money on the work cafeteria. Look, it wasn't even a cafeteria that we had, but on the food, the cooler, the foods in the coolers, the snacks, and all of that stuff, you could have had meals. So go through, take stock on all of that stuff, and let's get a handle on it. Don't let these apps leave you broke. Don't let these apps put you in debt, keep you in debt, or take you longer to get out of debt, right? Because $5, $6, $8, $9 a month, it don't sound like a lot. But when we start timesing that by 5, 6 of these different apps and so on, and then sprinkle in a little bit that maybe one or two of them apps might be costing you like 20 something dollars. Okay. And definitely if we're talking about more than a couple of apps that's costing you, it's time to get cancel, 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 unsubscribe, delete the app, the whole nine. You understand me? Y'all, I want y'all to have a wonderful week. Hang in there with this weather. If you, some of y'all may already, you may live in the parts of the country that have nice weather. Okay. But if you a Midwest girl like myself, or I think maybe even some of the East Coast people is kind of going through it, then you already know this weather is finicky. It is ready for you to get sick because you are battling from short sleeve to sweaters, okay, to no hats, okay, to a hat in a hoodie. And you are battling with spring on the edge of springing. So then that's somebody's allergies. Okay. Have y'all allergies been acting up? I've been a little irritated. I've been taking allergy pills. Listen, we going through it. We going through it. But y'all stay blessed. Have a good week. Take care of anything, any little changes that you can make financially. That'll help make it. Cutting out things you don't use a lot of anymore. You could be applying those funds to something else that you need to take care of. All right. So look, I'm your host, your girl, of course, Miss Antesha. You've been tuned in to Raising a Woman podcast. And as always, from pain to purpose, let's talk about it. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.